into the bedroom.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely not live, am I?
Definitely not live. I was checking my live feed.
Excellent.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah, everything's running quite slow.
I've unplugged my laptop from the...
Thank you, I appreciate that. Is it running at all?
It's come up.
It's very slow.
Buffering.
Right.
Why don't you just walk this way to pick up some signal to get it?
Yeah, I shall have to try that, I reckon. I'm just going to paste it.
Just watch what you're showing behind you, please.
Sure. This isn't going to work, is it? This isn't going to work. It is working. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking right now.
What's your sound on your phone doing?
Okay, cool. So the YouTube link's working. I've got somebody here.
That's probably me.
No, I don't think so. Hey guys, can you hear me at all? This is the most unprofessional thing I think I've ever done in my life.
Is your sound turned off on the side of your phone?
I hope not. Can't. Yeah, the others can hear me fine, which is quite cool.
I think my speaker's gone on my phone.
All right, I've got my girlfriend in the other room, and she's telling me your speakers aren't working. So.
Well, your microphone's not working, but my speaker. Your loudspeaker doesn't.
Awesome. Well, I seem to be working now. I'm holding my phone up because this is the quickest way that I could find a solution. I'm so sorry that I couldn't fix this properly earlier on. It's not that funny. First and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to, well, spend time listening to me, essentially, especially with it being a first stream, because, well, this is just abysmal. Awesome. So there's not too much lag. You can hear me okay. It's workable. Awesome. Okay, comments come up on the phone as well, so I don't have to keep looking over there. Great. So I'm not too planned here on what I was going to do, but I have realised that I have rewards with my patrons where I would communicate with you lot via live streams, and it only occurred to me the other day that I've never done one, and that's just terrible. So I'm going to make it up to you by making sure that I speak to you several times and that we do this more frequently, and we can use it just to discuss ideas. It's essentially anything we want, even if we just want to have a laugh. I'm cool with whatever. If you have video ideas, you want to flesh out controversial opinions or anything like that, I'm totally cool with whatever you guys want to do. I've just come off a Skype call with Holy Kool-Aid, so Thomas Westbrook, and hey Lars, and I've just come off a call with Rachel Oates, and we're starting a podcast probably in a couple of weeks. You're the first to know this, and very excited for that. But that's part of why I've been so disorganised in setting this up, and now that I'm just sitting down doing it on my phone. So it's for a good cause. We're going to have a podcast out, which I'm sure will be fun. Great. I'm glad that this works. This is good. Yes, please. I'll have a tea. Awesome. So, do any of you have any questions that I've never answered or anything along those lines? Because if you do, I will keep trying to look at the chat and answering any that you do. Yeah, you're right, Yelton. We can work towards improvements another time, such as not doing it on my phone. Absolutely terrible. With most of my work, I try and make it as clean and crisp as possible. It's the graphic designer in me. And then when it comes to live feeds, it's this. I'm happy that I could figure out how to make it unlisted, because I'm just double checking that this isn't live, because that would scare the crap out of me. Okay, it's not live. It's not public, sorry, it'd be the right thing. I don't play bass or electric guitar. I kind of play electric guitar, but only one song. When I met my girlfriend, I played that one song and gave her the impression that I could play it very well, and I can't. Oh, have we? Do you go by the name Balluminator? Yeah, that's completely out the way now, Yelton. I'm not a singer. I can't play. I'm not musically gifted. Whenever I've seen these before with people that are disorganised, such as myself, I've always found them slightly awkward, and now I realise that I am doing that. So, yeah, sorry for that. So in there you're David. Was it the discussion when we were talking about the burden of proof for atheism? Because I got quite heated with Steve McRae on that. And there was about 9 people talking with me. Awesome. Was you on Steve's side, where you think that there is a burden of proof for atheists? The topic, by the way, of atheists having a burden of proof is definitely something I'm going to do. I realised you're kind of up in the air on that. Okay. Yeah, on the topic of doing atheism has a burden of proof, I think it kind of comes down to language. Matt Dillahunty has a very good video where he's saying, look, if you define burden of proof in a certain way, then you can say that yes, an atheist has a burden of proof to explain why they don't believe that the proposition that a God exists is true. But if you use the more popular definition of burden of proof, then that's just not how it works. The person who's making an assertion, it is up to them to justify that assertion. They can put across evidence, and then somebody has almost a burden to say why that evidence does not achieve what they say. But that's not the same as having a burden of proof. But this is something I will flesh out at another point. I'm also kind of midway in conversation with Steve over a few emails about the disagreement, and it's frustrating him to no end. But something will come off that in the end. Hopefully when it does, I would have spent just as much time as I normally do fleshing it out and making sure that what I say is coherent. So Yelton says, do you have a long list of topics for future videos? Yeah, I have loads. I have so many that they're not fleshed out, but there's lots on my mind that I want to do. When you guys made it so that I could do this first full time, one of my thoughts was, holy crap, how am I going to come up with enough topics? And I was genuinely concerned, but then 3 days later I had so many, but they're not fleshed out enough to be, that's a solid concept. Thank you very much. Cheers. Oh, you got me a biscuit as well. My lovely girlfriend, everyone. So, let me just go back to that question. Yeah, I have lots of ideas. By the way, on the topic of ideas, I haven't posted too many votes for you guys to basically vote on. I'll make that up to you either next month or the month after. There'll be a lot more. The reason I haven't been is because I've just had a personal hobby horse with free will lately, and there's just been a few things and a few collaborations that I've been meaning to do for a long time, and I wanted to jump on them pretty much make them the highest priority that I could. I'm working with Rachel at the moment. My next video will be titled Grief Without Belief. Dealing with death as an atheist, and it'll be an interesting one. So anyway, I shall move on to the next question, which was if the cooperations with Rachel, Thomas and Alex increase, may that lead to itself to some sort of skeptic network? I think that's possible. I'm pretty close with Alex and Rachel. I speak with them frequently on Facebook, etc. They're both wonderful, particularly Alex. Sorry, they're both wonderful. I speak particularly with Alex. He's a wonderful young man, and just he's going places. He's well ahead of his game. Sorry, 1 second. Hannah, could you bring my charger, please? YouTube Live eats the hell out of my battery. Thank you very much. Awesome. Man, we got loads of comments coming in. This is fantastic. I thought I'd be lucky if I could manage to grab just a few of you, because I know it's not a convenient time for America, by the way. I'm sorry for that. The other day that I gave you was evidently Thanksgiving. That's not smart of me. So if I yeah, I know. I gave them Thanksgiving and a really awkward time on a Monday, and then I was like, oh look, they've chosen unanimously. No, I gave you a choice between a rock and a hard place, and he went for the rock. So yeah, you're David. Let me get through these comments a bit. I hope you don't mind the awkwardness of this, and thank you for being understanding with me basically entirely screwing this up the first time round, but it's always got to be that way, hasn't it? So, okay, to me an anti-theist has a burden of proof. Yeah, so if somebody asserts that there are no gods at all, I think there is some form of a burden of proof, but saying that if someone has a proposition for a god, say a particular type of, in fact just Christianity, and I say, what is your proof for that, and they present the watchmaker argument. So if the proposition T is God exists, and that God does not exist is not T, and they say T is true, so God exists, because of X, and X is the watchmaker argument, and I say not X, as in X is not sufficient, like they are extrapolating something that doesn't come out of that. I haven't said not T, and it's important to make that distinction. Whereas people that say there are absolutely no gods, I say that for practical purposes, because for the same reason I say there's no fairies. But I understand that there is a burden, technically, if you say a certain amount. Okay, cool. So we got, what does your family think of your YouTube channel, and that it's your main source of income now? So most people don't know that I'm on YouTube. I haven't shared it with my Facebook friends, with a lot of my family, and it's not because, if I level with you, it's not because I'm afraid of them knowing that I'm an atheist or anything. I've never cared about things like that. I've been an atheist since the age of 7. I called bullshit that early. The reason they don't know about it really is because I'm not really that close with them, and I don't care to really share it. I mean, it's kind of a source for me to, all of my close friends know, and they think it's great. A lot of my friends are jealous of the fact that I'm essentially living my dream, and again, that's thanks to you guys, completely to you guys at this point, because YouTube is being quite harsh on my channel. But yeah, I think that pretty much answers your question. Yeah. So another burden of proof. I will get to the burden of proof stuff, but I'm just going to skip a few for now. Can she bring me a tea? It's freezing here in Germany. I bet it's cold in Germany. It's cold here, so yeah, I bet it's cold. The other thing is I have a pint of tea, which is excellent, because actually it's not excellent because I can't drink it immediately because it's too frickin' hot. But yeah, all the tea. It's 75 in FL. Whew, crikey. Yeah. It's about 5 o'clock, I assume, where you guys are in America, or most of you guys. I'm glad that I got the times right. I think I did anyway. Oh, okay, so Lars says, thoughts on respect people's beliefs. I think you requested that video a while ago, Lars, and it's well on my list. I nearly did it as the one that I'm currently doing now, but I skipped it to do the grief without belief. Respect my beliefs on on the top of my agenda, and when I get round to it, I'm probably going to take that one aggressively, in the sense that I think Respect My Belief is just devoid of any kind of respect. It shits on respect. Respect is earned, it's not freely given, and you don't just get it because you claim to believe in things that you can't possibly know, and then claim jurisdiction over the experience of people that you don't know. It's bizarre. Anyway, see, I'm ranting already, so when I get round to that, it'll be a big rant. I have been a bit worried, by the way, about how different my content can be depending on the subject that I'm talking about. I'm wondering, do you guys find that I'm inconsistent, or do you think no, it's consistent? It just depends on the topics that you're on. I would definitely be interested in that. Thanksgiving equals not at work. Oh, of course, it's public holiday. That makes sense. That makes sense. Your collab with Alex about Sam Harris's book was extremely compelling. Thank you. Yeah, I've had a lot of compliments on my conversation with Alex, and most people disagree with me and think that morality isn't objective, and I totally get that. But overwhelmingly, the people have just really enjoyed the conversation that we had, and that's partly why I have decided to start doing this podcast with with Thomas and Rachel, because conversation, I don't do it so often because, as you can tell, although I'm extra flustered here because of the whole situation and everything, but I'm nowhere near as articulate as I am when I thought things through and I've read it a billion times and I'm presenting it in a video, and that's always bothered me. I didn't want to damage, I guess, my presence, but since my conversation with Alex did well, which is basically just do a bit of preparation and have a conversation, I have been meaning for a long time to do more. Me, Alex and Rachel will be collaborating at some point, which will be fantastic. So there's going to be more, and again, when I start this podcast, you're basically going to get bored of me. There's going to be so much going on. Awesome. So you're all new to this as well. That's great. I would say your names, by the way, but I'm just going to use the excuse of dyslexia. I will butcher your names beyond recognition, so I won't be doing that. The early avoidance of indoctrination. Yeah, thank you. I feel a little bit unique with my story. I should probably give you the rest of that comment. Yelton says, congratulations on an early avoidance of indoctrination. I do feel very lucky with that fact that I didn't really ever buy into it, and it gives me kind of a unique perspective, because I should have. I was completely being drowned in Catholicism, but just from a young age I could just tell that the adults were lying, and it didn't make sense. But one of the things that's quite wonderful is when a creationist finds out about how natural selection works, they are amazed, of course, just a little bit concerned here. It says poor connection. Maybe that's a bit better now, I don't know. Let me get down to the bottom to keep... Yeah, awesome. This is the problem with live stream, especially where I am, the connection is just so bad. Where was I again? I was saying about... Okay, when a religious person first understands natural selection, I can only imagine how world-shattering that is, because all of a sudden you think, oh crap, there is a reason why life that's complex and it has two eyes and it's perfectly designed, seems to be designed, it can be explained naturally. That must be amazing. But I had the exact same experience when I was basically a deist. I was basically off like that Thomas Jefferson kind of, I believed in a God because how else could things get here? I wasn't a Christian. I knew that much was just crap. So yeah, I come at it from a slightly different angle is what I'm saying, and I might at some point create a video that even mentions that or features it, or maybe it will be something I talk about on the podcast at some point. So let me scroll a little bit further. Yes, 7, very young. I definitely get that. The basic story was that I was questioning the vicar. I was just questioning the vicar to the point where he basically gave me detention for asking too many questions, which is terrible, in my opinion. Children ask questions and should get answers. Okay. Dale writes, different topics require different styles of communication. You seem consistent enough. I appreciate that. It is a concern of mine, because if you take, for example, my video on crystal healing, I'm facetious, mocking, etc. And then if you take the one that I'm about to do with grief, it's pretty emotional. But when you work so closely to something, such as I do with Rationality Rules, it's just hard to see the frame of everything and to know whether or not it's consistent and coherent. But that's why your opinions matter and other people's do. That's why I ask for them. I cannot see certain things because I'm just too close into the projects. I think you are consistent. Love the way you explain things. Thanks. I appreciate that. I've always just tried to explain things as simply as possible, because it kind of leaves them with armour that's just hard to knock aside if it's using certain language or the scientific description, etc. So yeah, I'm glad that my way of breaking down things and making a YouTube channel, it's resonated with people and people have enjoyed it. So yeah, that goes a long way. I view your channel as what it says on the tin, rationality. Funny thing about the rationality thing, Steve McRae said this to me actually, and this is what lots of other people have said to me. The amount of people that say to me, hey, you're called Rationality Rules, they don't say it like this, but this is what they say, and they go, you should have exactly the same opinion as me on this, otherwise you can't really call yourself rational. And I'm like, well, I mean, without definitive facts, rationality almost insists that there has to be nuance in opinions. And the funny thing is, I am quite nuanced when it comes to atheism, etc. So I'm firmly of the belief that there's no God or gods. But when it comes to so many other factors, like for example abortion, I'm for women's rights, etc. But I fall down in a different area to most people. And maybe that will just be some really interesting videos in the future, or debates, or whatnot. But yeah, having diversity in opinion is always a good thing. So, good, keep them coming. By the way, I just want to thank you again for being here, and especially considering the fact that I'm using my phone and the whole situation. I really do appreciate it all. I like the fact that you don't do religious claims exclusively. Oh, thanks. Yeah. That was from Klaus. When I first started the channel, I was thinking about keeping it just to religion, but I just thought, well, religion is just one way of thinking badly about the world, and the amount of people in the UK that don't call themselves religious, they are religious under my definition of it, because they just move to spirituality, and it's the same game, it's just different colours and different balls and different nets, but it's the same frickin' game. So I did realise at that point that if I really want to address bad thinking, bad rationality, then I needed to expand the channel essentially. Nuance indeed. Yeah, political discourse. I thought many times I wanted to touch politics, but I haven't, because I don't think it will benefit the channel. Maybe you'd agree with me, politics probably isn't something that I should touch too much, especially if I don't fall into what the typical atheist does. But maybe I do. I kind of fall where Sam Harris does. I'm centre-left. I believe there's such a thing as the regressive left, and I'm really not a fan of it. I kind of think at this point in time it's more dangerous than the far right, because the far right is mocked and the far left is heavily supported implicitly by lefts that aren't far left, but they're making it so that you can't criticise these things. So, but yeah, I don't know, what would you think to me touching politics? Do you think it would be a bad idea? I'm probably not going to do it despite your answer, but I do want to know. It's hard to be surrounded by a particular set of ideas and reject them. Yeah, it is. It's very hard. We're just built to soak up whatever. You know, we didn't evolve to be rational beings, but rational apes, and it shows. It shows just so obviously. And yeah, it's no surprise that people that are born in a location where a particular religion or particular denomination is prevalent, that they end up believing that. I'm trying to think of something extremely relevant about a topic that I'm doing at the moment. Oh yes, it's I was discussing with, it's either Dan or it's one of my higher tier patrons, about whether or not an atheist turns to religion when they're in a foxhole, and some of them will, but the ones that they're turned to is going to be the one that's off their culture. And I think this tells you everything you need to know about it. It's just, you're in despair, you know, it's your last grip on something, it's your last chance. It's not dying or whatever it is, and so you just fall back to whatever it is, and it just so happens to be what you culturally accept. So let's have a little look again. Good point about religion and spirituality. I always wonder why everyone has to say touch wood. Yeah, touch wood drives me nuts. My mum does it a lot. I don't spend much time with my mum. I didn't really grow up with her. But when I do see her, oh, God, the meaningless drivel that she comes out with. Touch wood, got to look at magpies twice, otherwise you got bad luck. Just a whole plethora of absolute nonsense. And she once said to me, oh, what does it matter? And I was like, right, I can't have this conversation with you because, as bad as it sounds, she's just not smart enough. She's got a damaged brain from too much alcohol, to be honest with you. No longer an alcoholic, but just from when she was younger. So I basically go, is that a lost cause? But people saying touch wood and stuff, they're not hurting people, and so I'm not so tempted to take... in my head I just go, you're a fucking moron. Or I think, is that just a cultural thing? Because you get a lot of just people do things like that and say things like that for cultural. I say bless you, for example. Well, sorry, bless you, but I don't mean it. Don't bless you. As Michael McIntyre says, fuck you, you're spreading germs. But yeah, it's when there was an argument put across a while back that I read, the little things actually add up. So if people can say touch wood and you don't really pick them up on it, the reason they think they can say that is because they've built associations, and some people really believe this crap. And if they can make, if their mind is wired so that they can do that, well, it's wired so that they can do anything, which means that they can come to the belief that gays are unnatural and then claim jurisdiction over the experience of gays, which is harsh. Or as Hitchens used to say, tell them who they can sleep with and in what position. Okay, so I'm impressed with how well this is all working, considering that I had to do it at the last point. Right. Some comments about visiting Utah. Oh, that'd be absolutely amazing. I'd like to visit America. There's a lot of places that I'd like to visit. America is definitely... I know that's not saying much because America's freaking huge, but I want to visit a lot of places. It'd be really cool. I think I would fit in better there to a large extent because I really care about existential questions, and because you have such a presence of religiosity, you also have the opposite, which is you guys, essentially, people that really care about these questions and realise that it's all bullshit, and then you want to have the interesting scientific, philosophical and artistic conversations about how to deal with death, for example, certain things. In England, the void just gets filled by spirituality or apathy, and it just sucks. The amount of people I hang out with, for example, I try and have... I've given up, basically. I try and have interesting conversations, free will, about whether or not there's aliens, etc. And they will not want to have it. But then they smoke marijuana, and they'll be like, let's do it. I don't want to do it when you're high, and like your mind's buggered up. Even though I get it, that's what you want to do when you're high. But to me, it was just like, I want those conversations. I want to find more people like me. I went to London Hammersmith with Alex, and it was just amazing to meet so many people that were just... And it was bizarre to be recognised. I got people wanting a photo, which was... I won't forget that. That was absolutely bizarre. Okay, I totally agree about the regressive left, by the way. As a left-leaning person myself, I consider this one of my largest fights in the political arena. I completely agree with you, Dale. Like, it sucks. To the point that I don't like calling myself left because it is so intoxicating. It's so irritating, but that's only because I care about it. I care about traditional left, you know, the real things that they used to care about, like democracy and free speech. And all of a sudden they claim that that's still their values, and they go, no, you cannot criticise Islam. No, you really shouldn't draw pictures of Muhammad. No, Brexit voters really are bad people. Trump voters are really bad people. It's like, this isn't helping. It's just not helping at all. Awesome. So, we've got, I would limit political areas. You're probably like right down at the bottom. You're like scrolling up and going, oh my god, he's right up here. Let me have a little look down to just see how far I am. Oh, not too far. By the way, considering there's only 10 people in the stream, you're giving me lots to talk about. I appreciate that, because it could have been just me talking at you and you not asking questions or conversing with me. So thank you. That's good. So, yeah, I would limit political topics. Yeah, I think I will, to be honest with you. It's just nice to be able to rant. It could be worse. You could be a bit further south. That's too. Oh yeah, that's true. That wouldn't be fun. So Chris Clark says, I am an army veteran, and there were definitely atheists in foxholes, but only a few of us. Yeah, it's on the topic of atheists in foxholes. The first thing that I think it's Dan. I keep mixing two of my patrons up because I'm a moron. We were discussing, first of all, what does that mean? So there are no atheists in foxholes. Basically, from what we concluded is, when people are they're in a foxhole, like they're like, oh gosh, we're at the end of our life here, like we're gonna need something, we're in trouble here. That's when there's no atheists left in foxholes, because they go, all of a sudden I'm a Christian, I believe, I'm sorry, etc. But then there's another kind of take on it, and that is that there's no atheists in foxholes. They're all out and about and they're telling each other that they're atheists. There's no one like hiding it. So it was interesting to immediately realise, and online from subsequent research, that term kind of means different things to different people. So yeah. We should try and get him some kind of public speaking engagement in Utah. I would do that. That would be quite funny, and it would be an opportunity to meet a lot of you and buy you a nice. I was going to say a cup of tea, but a beer would probably be the better thing. I hear that in America you don't really have milk with tea, which makes you monsters. So I'll just bring portable milk or something. See, Steve, Chris Clark agrees that there are atheists in foxholes. Indeed he does. Occasions. Yeah, I have two friends that are in the military here, and they've both told me that it's pretty bad, like how religious they are. But one of them said to me, I don't know if this would resonate with you or if you think he's talking crap, but he said he thinks that religiosity is so high there because it's another factor of control, because they need to be able to control people. He's a Royal Marine, and he says what they basically do is beat the shit out of you, mentally and physically, so that they can remold you into somebody that does what they say, rather than question what they do. And I realise that that's probably not the best thing to say to somebody like yourself, but that's how he put it. I don't know if that... religion would be a good tool to control people, because you're doing it for your country and for your God, etc. Right, let's start scrolling. So Yeltsin says, I perceive the UK as having a much less religious populace compared to the US. Do you think religious groups in the UK are shrinking? Yeah, it's really weird because we are technically a Christian country, and you guys are secular, and yet you guys are just all over the place with religion, and we're not. But it's hard to tell because I'm not very cultured. But from looking at statistics, etc., our education system's better than yours. We teach evolution properly, etc. These things add up. But I assure you that there's just as many stupid people. The problem is that when you get people signing whether or not they're religious on like pools, etc., so many people in England that are spiritual, and they're basically deists. They either one put down Christian, which means they will come up as religious, or they say non-religious because they have a spiritual affiliation. And I can't seem to break through to them that no, you're still religious. And they're like, I don't believe in a God. And I'm like, God damn it, like being religious doesn't mean you believe in a God. Buddhists don't believe in a God, you know, but they're absolutely still religious. Being religious is a whole different kind of kettle of fish, but then to a large extent it's not. It depends about where you're speaking about it. That's one of the things that Sam Harris has convinced me of, that atheism isn't a good word to use. You don't describe to people what you're not. And atheism means different things in different countries, whereas non-religious is pretty consistent. It tells you pretty much all you got to know. And it makes basically the admission immediately that that it's not offering you anything. It's just, I'm non-religious. None of those categories. But yeah, just to tie that back in again, I don't know if religious groups are shrinking in the UK, but it wouldn't surprise me. We tend to be getting a bit smarter, but I don't know, we'll find out. Definitely still full of stupid people. So, I'm a science teacher, and I really bring up how science can explain many things. Chemistry, physics, biology, I have the answers. And if not now, eventually the science will. Yeah, so, I mean, science is brilliant, and I imagine like teaching science as a method, etc., must be really rewarding, especially like when a child, assuming children, teaching children, when they just kind of like resonate with it and they get what it's about. It's absolutely awesome. One thing that I really wish that I was taught in school, and that was taught in school in general, was science is taught wrong in the UK. I don't know if it is elsewhere, in my opinion, in the sense that they go, here is the answers, regurgitate them, and you get a good grade. Whereas that's not what science is. Science is all about the how, and how are these things made. Yeah, there are, like, what are these answers, but it just, I don't think it gets across the actual crux, the main importance of science. Yeah, so, let's get down there a bit more. What do I think about the apparent regression in belief in science, e.g. flat earthers, anti-vaxxers? So when I created a video on flat earth, I was amazed by it's the most popular video I have. I don't know how I feel about that. It has a tremendous amount of dislikes and a lot of people insulting me, like bad as well. Of all of the negativity I've received, I get hit with negativity quite a lot because I'm taking on people's special beliefs, etc. I don't mind, I've got thick skin. But, and it's the internet, but flat earth is just ridiculous. Like, the amount of people that just put something like, no, the earth's flat, fuck you, shave your beard, you ugly prick, you're losing your hair, etc. There's just tremendous amount of that, like no substance, just insults. And it makes me think, this has to be trolling, this is absolutely insane. But the more I've done research into it, I don't think it is. It really is just, they don't understand science. That's the problem. If I said to you, prove that the earth is round, or a sphere, outside of physics and something that you can only get because you understand certain things, it's actually very hard to prove. And these people, this is the kind of person that will only believe it if they see it themselves, and it's just bad. But yeah, I don't know if there's been a regression, but there might be. It might be the case. I will say this: my friend who's a Christian was telling me that the flat earthers are mental, and I just had to stop him. I say my friend, it's a family member. I'd say, listen, you believe in you know, like there's a supreme God, it's split in three, it gave birth to itself by impregnating a virgin. All of this is way, way less likely than there being a ginormous conspiracy that the Earth is actually flat. And they couldn't seem to process that. And if I was just mocking them, I was like, I'm not. Like, statistically, it's far more likely that flat earthers are right than Christianity is true. But because it's a cultural thing that they're exposed to and what they've grown up with, they just can't seem to recognise that. So Chris says, I've always considered the religiosity to be a side effect on lower education. That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of lower education make up the military. That's very true. Be interesting to see. Is it like paratroopers, or there's certain parts that require a bit more of an education? Maybe like if they look at the engineers and see whether or not they're religious and whether or not they reflect the same kind of religiosity as the general public. That'd be really interesting. But yeah, great point. I think that probably is the main reason. I don't know how to say your name. It's the science teacher. I'll give it a go. I'm sorry for the butcher. Right. Lizette. I'm going to go with Lizette. Okay, I'm going to go with Lizette. I do teach evolution, and those who complain, I just tell them to leave an open mind and learn something new. In the States, Christians tried to stop us teachers from teaching evolution. I refused. Good on you. That's fantastic. That just shows that you've got massive principles, especially where it could have cost you so much. So, yeah, respect to you. That must be hard. The internet is full of ad hominem attacks. Yes, they are. The video that I did with on what's that weasel? Oh, crikey! The apologist for Islam that basically misrepresents everything that Harris has ever done. I'm gonna have to scroll down and find out. Maybe you typed it. Nope. Aslan, Reza Aslan. He the amount of people that have commented on that video going, oh, you've just done an ad hominem attack, and I've had to say that's not what an ad hominem is, and I've had to explain it. Oh, it's driving me nuts. So I've just pinned it to the top, and I've just left it, despite the fact that I still get that comment. My stepfather teaches physics, chemistry, and free language. Jesus. Wow. Somehow he's also a minister in the Church of England. That's crazy. Yeah, that's some serious cognitive dissonance. My girlfriend's father is a Christian, but I can tell from the slightest conversation that he has just not thought about these things. That's probably not the case of somebody that's a minister in a church, but yeah, cognitive dissonance is an incredible thing. It just all comes back to the fact that we didn't evolve to understand the universe, and it just shows. We just bear the lowly stamp of our origin. It's just absolutely the case. Your basic is rare if you can be consistently rational, and yeah, that's not good. That's quite crazy though. Free languages, chemistry, physics. Does he have a degree in physics and chemistry as well, or is he just teaches it? The flat Earth idea is beyond belief. It is. It's absolutely nuts. Flat Earthers. It's a really fun topic for us atheists to watch. Love Cool Hard Logic. Yeah, Cool Hard Logic's very cool. I found him during my research. His style is quite fun. I gotta say I enjoy it. So yeah, he's very cool. It is so unbelievable that I think its prevalence gets exaggerated by us pointing. I think so, yeah. I think the Flat Earth, there's a big portion of the Flat Earthers that are just trolls and they enjoy the attention, but there's a decent amount that I do buy their sincerity. I see it. I can. All it takes is a bit of ignorance and a lack of education, and we're back to the Stone Ages. If, for example, you are brought up in a place where evolution isn't taught, chances of you being religious is a lot higher, because all of a sudden, how on earth do I have two eyes and they're perfectly put in a certain area and eyebrows? It just doesn't resonate until you understand certain things. So we have flatards. Yeah, that's what they're called. Yes. Yes, 3 degrees. flat earth nonsense, I think has very much louder voice than it otherwise would without the aid of the net. Yeah, absolutely. Physics, chemistry, apologetics. It's a really weird mix. I don't believe you debunked the GMO scare. I bring it up because my anti-vaxxer mother just told me not to contribute to Thanksgiving dinner because no GMOs, I should say it right, are allowed in her house. Wow, that's interesting. The next time she eats broccoli, tell her, hey, that's completely genetically modified. It doesn't exist in nature. Same with Brussels sprouts and all sorts. If she has a dog, shouldn't be in the house. That's genetically modified. Although I guess because you've got like two definitions of genetically modified. One of them is like it's been essentially injected, pesticides, etc. On the topic of GMOs, by the way, there's a YouTuber that I've collaborated with before called Genetically Modified Skeptic, and he's very hot on these topics. Very, very articulate young man. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't. Damn cold. I've been ill for about a month. It's because I don't believe in God, you know. Zeus. Okay, religion is a default. Yeah, it pretty much is. It's just you culturally accept what you brought up in, and as long as a religion is a default, that'll be your default belief. Let's have a little look again. I managed to lose the stream, sorry. Read something shared on Facebook and assume anything about its truth value. Yeah. A lot of people, I don't know if you get this a lot on your Facebook feeds, a lot of people in the UK, it might reflect the spirituality thing, they share a crap load of, it's called Gaia or something, and it's just videos of absolute fucking mumbo-jumbo spirituality crap. It's basically Deepak Chopra, who I'm definitely going to do a video on because that guy is just unbelievable. But then again, Sam Harris on his own decimated the guy. And it's just no, I don't think I could do a better job. How long does it take you to prepare for a video? Cool, so yeah, good question. Right, so writing the script and doing the research is honestly 80% of it. Because I really care about what I say, even to the point where I want to make sure that I'm using certain words. Lots of details that are wasted on absolutely everyone. But if anyone ever... I think it's details that aren't recognised, but they are the things that make my videos compelling. Because not only does it allow me to say something succinctly, it does make it so it's almost impenetrable, and that it can't be looked at from a different angle. They have to go into it and take on what I've just said. So the script takes a very long time. Recording doesn't take too long, about 2 hours. It is tiring, like I'm on it. I probably record each bit about 4 times. Just curious, by the way, I get a lot of bloopers, and I've been thinking about, for each one, I'll just put together the bloopers and just put them on Patreon for you guys to enjoy. If that'd be interesting to you, I'll put them on. Some of them are mental, like the other day, I've unfortunately deleted it. I have I'll quickly show you. I have down here I assume I'm pointing down here. I have a bearded dragon, lovely pet. Well, she just ran out and started climbing on my legs and climbing up on top of me. I kind of wish that I had kept that blooper because it was hilarious. Awesome. Okay, well I will definitely do the bloopers. That'll be good. Bananas and watermelons are GMOs. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Very true. And melon's pretty good. Just to finish off with the how long does it take you to prepare for a video. I'm naturally good at graphic design. I'm just good at it, to be honest with you. If there's anything I'm good at, it's that. I can do all of the visuals, cut out all of the images, design the entire thing in about an hour and a half, and then when it comes to the editing on Premiere Pro, that takes a while because I want to animate everything, and basically the more I make on Patreon, the more I can dedicate time justifiably to the project, and I'm going to really start putting that time, maybe like adding sound effects and like getting certain things to work. But I very much try and stick to the 80-20 principle, so I want to make sure that it's really good, but that I don't spend and squander so much time on something that doesn't really help, because I'm already doing that on the script, so I can't afford to do that elsewhere. I'll add to Chris's question and I'll ask if you use a teleprompter or memorise your lines. Yeah, good question. I memorised all of my lines until shortly after I made my video asking for help, essentially. And it improved my memory, my short-term memory, quite a lot. The frustration, how difficult it is to remember your lines and to remember to deliver them in a certain way. Oh my gosh, that was absolutely infuriating. But you'll notice that my newer videos, I use a great deal, I'm on screen a great deal more, and it's because I use a teleprompter. I actually have it here, so here's my teleprompter, as you can see here. My lighting is terrible. Another thing I'll make sure, by the way, the next time we do this, which won't be too long, I'll make sure the lighting is better. So the teleprompter, there we go. There we go. Basically like that. The phone goes in underneath. That sits on top of my camera, and yeah, I set the cadence, and I just basically read off it and deliver it well. I'm really impressed by this. That only cost £100, and I can't tell unless I'm really looking at my videos that I'm reading from a teleprompter. So it's been one of my favourite investments. And a cool little tip: 3 other YouTubers have asked how I'm doing it, and all 3 of them now own one of these. I should have got an affiliate commission with these. Alex O'Connor uses one now, as does Genetically Modified Skeptic, and I think Rachel might be at some point. Although Rachel's is pretty much ad hoc, just does it on the moment. Okay, so let's go on again. What do you think is the best quality you inherited from your parents? Oh, okay, interesting question. Well, it's certainly not my hairline. Goes back a bit, doesn't it? My dad's like 55 and he's still got his hair, so I'm not too worried. I just worry about it every day, that's all. Best quality I got from my parents. Oh wow, that's got me off guard. It sounds bad, but by not being good parents, they made me grow up young, and that gave me great... that just sounds bad. Nope. I will have to come back with that one. You should check out Cryon. He recently had a channeling where he experienced why homeopathy works. Oh my gosh. I have thought about taking on specific videos and just basically... channeling drives me nuts. Like people that can sit in front of people that channel and they go, okay, the gods are with me, and oh my gosh, like, it is mental. Absolutely mental. Like, doing that video was so frustrating. A young girl from London actually got me to do that video by contacting me and basically sending me videos, and she had spent £22,000 with a guy called Daniel Scranton, and she had finally found out after a year that he was lying, because she decided to look back at her previous calls and ask him the same questions and see what his answers were, and they were just all over the place. He of course accused her of bending the energies or whatever nonsense. But yeah, talking to her on Skype, she was infuriated, and I don't blame her. It's just absolutely absurd. Again, it's just a culty kind of thing. She wouldn't count herself as religious when she was doing that, but it is. Yes, bloopers please. Okay, cool, I'll see. Sometimes there might be no bloopers, sometimes there might be crap loads, but yeah, I'll throw them up. It's a nice thing to be able to add. Okay, so bloopers are fun, bloopers are good. If you need any sound effects, I'll donate time to that effect. Thanks man, I really appreciate that, that's really cool. You've already done wonders for my sound. That microphone, hopefully you guys have noticed a difference. That microphone is brilliant, such a difference. I have it, in fact, the last video I did, I had problems slightly because I hadn't turned the camera down enough, because all of my audio was quite high. So for the next one, I have to turn it down to its absolute minimum, which means it's just a deafening silence when I'm not talking. It's something I should have invested in immediately, but it was just ignorance. I didn't know what I was getting. Bloody good microphone. I think that results in a professional result with the teleprompter. Yeah, cheers. I think the teleprompter is brilliant. It's really useful being able to speak for a long time on screen, because when I first started, I essentially had to look at the script and I colour in blue what I'm going to say on screen, and I colour in green what I'm going to represent with visuals. And I used to basically have to go, oh, I can't speak for that long, so I'm going to have to find some visual to put in. Whereas now I just put visuals where they are most applicable. So yeah, awesome. So at 22 my hair was nearly long enough to sit on. Wow. Totally bald on top now. Oh, that's not good. Not good. See, I just look at my dad. I look very much like my dad. As far as physical, I look very much like my dad. But luckily, I'm taller and I'm much broader. And I'm not that broad, so that's telling you something. But he smoked most of his life, and he had a very, very hard upbringing. Lots of stress. Just unlucky man. But he still has his hair. So despite me having the same hairline, etc., and looking very much like him, I might be okay. And this is Cognitive Dissonance 101. I'm going to be fine. Next topic. Do you hear Holy Kool-Aid wants to be the most cursed man in the world? Cursed man in the world? What do you mean by cursed man? Like, swore at kind of thing? Or... yeah. I wonder what most cursed man in the world. I better ask him the next time I speak to him. Should just quickly go and make sure that my thing is still working. Oh man, I've got so many links open that I've just somehow lost the one that I was reading comments on. And I can tell there's a comment because it comes up on the phone, but I'm just going to have to find it again. Oh, this is too many links. What is wrong with me? Here we go. I'm back. Honestly, I have about 33 links open on Google Chrome. This is just terrible. I think I can safely speak for everyone here that we are happy to contribute to the end result. Your videos are very useful because of their precision, clarity, and not overly patronising. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. I always want to strive to make them better. So, if you think of things that I can do, I want to do them. And of course, video topics are always good. I might have to make it so that I can basically show you what all of my video topics currently are. That might be quite cool, and then people can maybe make notes on them. I might find a way that we can find a better way of choosing the ones that I want to choose from. That could be quite cool. Cursed by voodoo and other type of curses. Oh, I see. I haven't seen his most recent video if it's on that. Was he basically saying that it's such crap that I'm telling you right now, curse me all you can, do all you can, because it's absolute nonsense. Okay, it's a bit harder to refer someone to, for example, a video by Angry Atheist, if they need gently prodding in a rational direction. Yeah, that's true. I actually think that a lot of the atheist community is just poison. It's just not good at all. It's part of why, it's a big part actually, why I started doing YouTube myself. I went in with big aspirations. I still have them. I want to dethrone these people. I want to represent a real skeptic. I think I'm a real skeptic, but we'll see if that can happen. But yeah, it's crazy times. Your videos are great. I have even recommended them to some of my advanced students. That's awesome. That's really cool. I appreciate that as well. As long as you feel like they're good. I think if on any topic that I think that I'm particularly good at conveying, it seems to be evolution at this point. But considering you teach evolution, you'd be the best to tell me. Like, do you think I've got it down? That I'm describing it well? it's from my experience, I seem to understand evolution better than a lot of people I meet, including one evolutionary biologist I know, which I don't understand that kind of thing. But yeah, talk about pumping your own horn. That's the wrong saying, isn't it? It's something like that. Tooting your own horn. I attempted to Google that. Awesome. So, yes, but it was in another McRae hangout. Ah, fair enough. Yeah, he had a debate, didn't he, with somebody on McRae's channel. I don't remember who it was, and I haven't listened to it, but I should do it at some point. As a tip for the next Patreon hangout, put the link in a new message because I didn't get notified when you posted the link in a comment. Ah, yes, great point. Yeah, absolutely. I was getting to the point where I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so going tits up. I feel really bad. I will make sure that I'm a lot more organised. I'll basically make it so that I can stream from my computer, so my wrist doesn't get achy. And I will have a bit more of a format. And I will, as you said, just put a link here and maybe a few more reminders beforehand. I will at one point want to do a live chat with everyone on YouTube, which could be really, really cool actually. And needless to say, this definitely helps me out in experiencing what it's like to talk with my phone. You have done very well with evolution. Ah, you're too kind. What did the evolutionary biologist say that was wrong? Yeah, sure. He was basically saying that evolution is largely random. And I was saying, well, you have random mutation. But as for whether or not that random mutation makes it to the next generation, that's not random. It's the opposite of random, essentially. It's natural selection. Like, does it work enough to be for that organism to successfully reproduce? And he was like, no, that's random as well. And he was mainly saying that the random part is the main aspect of natural selection. I was saying, no, I understand that you need the random part. The random part is vital. It cannot be removed. It is really important. But it isn't what natural selection is. It's not called random selection. It's called natural selection because it's about nature essentially doing the artificial selection. So yeah. Yeah, it's actually my most hated and the most annoying myth about evolution. And while I've covered it in other areas, I might just create like a 2-minute video where I just address it so it can be shared. I've started sharing my videos on Facebook as well, because YouTube just doesn't monetize my videos. And on Facebook, that's a good area where things like that, because it's just 2 minutes of people's attention, can help. Yeah, survival of the fittest is absolutely horribly misunderstood. In a collaboration with Holy Kool-Aid, I basically took on, I took on that assertion. But I might at some point just release a series of very small videos where I take on the most common, just in a really succinct and visually catching way, just take on the most common mistakes about evolution. Yeah, straw man arguments against evolution are just absolutely, they're just rife, they're absolutely everywhere. I'm actually thinking about reaching out to Kent Hovind and asking him for a debate. I think he'll accept because he seems to debate quite often. One thing that I want to say to him immediately is, essentially, he misrepresents evolution all the time. And I want to say, what would you do if I was to say to you, right, I want you to debate Christianity with you, but I insist that you believe that there is a corporeal, bearded, Caucasian man in the sky? Would you take me seriously? Like, would you even indulge a conversation if I insisted that your position was something that it's not? I don't think he would, and yet that's all he does with evolution, calling it the religion of evolution, etc. But debates are an interesting one. I think I want to get involved in a few debates, but I don't know if my channel would be the best place to air it. I think it would. Do you think debates would fit on my channel okay? Would you be willing to support me if I was to do research and have debates? definitely interesting questions. So, street epistemology is cool but doesn't scale very well. Yeah, I'm not too aware of street epistemology. I know Holy Kool-Aid did a video on it, and he's explained it to me once before actually. I'm not too much. I probably use it and do it, but I just don't quite know what it is. Aside from graphic design and being a voice rationality, what do you enjoy doing? Yeah, good question. I am a nerd, and I'm also very much into fitness. So I spend a fair amount of my time video gaming. I just really enjoy it. It's a way to unwind. I play chess. That's good fun online. I go to the gym quite often. I enjoy not bodybuilding like big, huge, but just building enough muscle, more muscle than normal. I just something. I think it's something to do with just seeing physical changes and keeping yourself healthy. I like what Socrates said about the amount of smart people that don't take care of their bodies, and yet they don't realise that they are intricately linked. They necessarily influence one another. But yeah, I'm not a normal person, but I am. I just do normal things, but not really. I'm trying to think if I have any other hobby. Oh yeah, of course. I play table tennis quite a lot. I really enjoy table tennis. Really fun game. Play it twice a week. And yeah, that's basically me. And I have a core of about 6 very close friends, and I love them dearly, and they're as good as my family. So I spend a decent amount of time with them. Logic did a great series of debunk videos with Kent Hovind. I haven't seen them. I might have to check it out. Yeah, a bit of Logic. I haven't checked out Logic for quite a while, actually. Yeah. I very much enjoy Logic, but I haven't enjoyed his recent stuff. Not because it's not good, it's just been a bit childish for me. But it's fantastic. It's so good. It's just, you go through phases, don't you? And you don't particularly like to... Sounds like I've just dislogicked. I don't mean to do that. I'm obviously tired. That's an interesting idea. Construct an obvious straw man of Christian religion and see if they can see the issues. Yeah, one thing that I definitely want to do, and what I found very effective against apologists, because I've debated lots of people in real life, is somebody, for example, will make an argument from ignorance, but they won't know what it is. If you say it, they think you're calling them ignorant, and they don't know what the word ignorant means, so they think you're calling them arrogant or something. Don't know if you've got that issue where you are, but it's definitely a thing here. I'll say, look, that's an argument from ignorance, because what you've said is, we don't know X, therefore Y. So we don't know how the universe started, therefore God must have done it. And he's like, okay, and I go, right, what if I said to you, hey, we don't know how the pyramids were made, therefore it must have been aliens. Same principles, it's, we don't know X, therefore Y. Some of them, I can see the fear in their eyes when they recognise that that's exactly the same logical structure, and they just haven't ever been dealt it that way, and it really resonates, and it can be a real hammer shot. Whereas some of them just don't think that you've made any valid point whatsoever. But I had decent progress with that, and I think that it would be interesting to see how Kent Hovind would respond to that. Making you want to visit a gym. Yup. There's a great YouTuber called Cordial Curiosity. I've heard of that channel. I've never seen it. Which is, excuse me. Oh, I've heard of it through Holy Kool-Aid, I think, which is all about street epistemology. Just not with regard to religion, but any belief that a person may hold. I might have to check it out. I might have to check it out. Happy to support debates, but do lots of practice debates are needed before you take on bigger debaters. Matt Dillapunty's Atheist Debate Project is brilliant. Yeah, I agree with you. I would want a lot more experience, and what I might do is I might have a lot of debates, and I might just keep them to Patreon only, because that way you can help me, and you can enjoy them, and once I feel like I'm off an appropriate level, I can start doing, basically putting them live. That could work. That could be really cool. On the topic of Matt Dillahunty, I I still haven't properly reached out to him because I've just been trying to sort my channel out and get certain projects done, but I really do want to debate Matt Dillahunty. But I find that I don't want to give the wrong impression that I'm not on his side, because I am. But there's two topics that I think he's just wrong on, like quite badly wrong. And I think it would just make a really interesting debate, similar to me and Alex when it was about the moral landscape. But I just don't want to give the wrong impression, because I admire the man. I think he's absolutely fantastic. But I do think he's dead wrong on two subjects. So either he will convince me, because if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Dillahunty, or I will convince him. There's going to be no middle ground. Yeah, there's a lot of people I want to debate with, which are technically on my side, but I just feel a little bit like I don't want to give the wrong impression. There's always tomorrow. Yes, there is. I shall gym tomorrow. I've had people say aliens don't exist, but God does. Yeah, I think that's quite frequent for people that believe in God, because if aliens exist, then it's a bit weird that, you know, their God would have created other sentient life when, you know, the Bible, etc. says, no, it's all about Earth. You just so happen to be born as the most important thing ever. Whole entire cosmos and death itself revolves around you. I don't think aliens fits very well into that kind of thinking. That pyramid example was street epistemology. Okay, very cool. Yeah, again, I should definitely check it out. I thought it might be something that I do, but don't know that I do. On the subject of if not X then Y, I'd love for you to do a video on the Big Bang. It often gets misconstrued as something from nothing. Yeah, the Big Bang is such an interesting question. I've spoken with very well-known atheists on YouTube, for example, and well-known atheist atheist activists in general as well, and they talk about the Big Bang as if it was the beginning of everything. And this is bizarre to me, because I just went, really? Okay, well, I'll do the research because I want to be able to explain it, not just say it, explain it. It's just not the case. It doesn't say that. Sean Carroll's brilliant on the subject. He says about what does he say? That, oh, one sec. My girlfriend's in bed trying to sleep, so I shall probably cut this a little bit short, because I feel bad for her. She's up very early. Where was I? Something from nothing. In fact, I have lost my train of thought, which is good. Oh yeah, there's no answer before Big Bang. Yeah, it's crazy. They seem to think that everything did start at the Big Bang, when that's just not indicated at all. If you follow through with Einstein's theory of general relativity, it indicates that. But as Sean Carroll puts far more better than I can, we already know that Einstein's theory is not right when it comes to certain things. Just as Newton's laws work perfectly on Earth, they're absolutely right, but they do not accurately describe the movement of celestial bodies. The same is true of Einstein. It describes Earth, it describes celestial bodies, but it does not work when it gets to even bigger states of the universe. And somehow they know that. It's not just a suspicion, they know that. But yeah, interesting topic. I shall read a couple more and then I shall conclude. Many videos are getting boring because they respond to the same old apologetics again. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that is very true, and I'm to a large extent addressing questions that were asked hundreds of years ago and have been debunked hundreds of years ago. But sometimes I just feel like if I can just put it in a bit more of a succinct way, then it's worth doing. But now that I have a little bit of traction, as you've probably noticed, I do tend to want to be able to take on things that I think will have more impact. Is merely an explanation for the expansion of the universe that we observe and measure. Yeah, the Big Bang is a very interesting topic, but there's so much confusion around it, and it's not held by so many people that should know better. Neil deGrasse Tyson hasn't spoken particularly well on the subject, and he's viewed as, you know, a respected resource. Awesome. Let's have a last look. Okay, well I better conclude because my girlfriend's trying to sleep, and it's been 75 minutes despite the 15-minute delay. I shall make sure next time that everything is set up correctly. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I know it's not the most convenient time for dealing with the teething issues as well, because, well, phone and the whole situation, waiting for 15 minutes. Yeah, thanks all. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you all, and I will do it again very soon, hopefully within a month. I'll make sure the times, there's more options than either A or B that's on Thanksgiving. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. So this is where I fail to close it, and it's just left on, and you get to see my ceiling for the rest of the night. Okay, cool. Well, take care. Thank you again for all of your support, by the way. It means a great deal. There's not a day that goes by where I'm not eternally grateful. You're basically employing me to do what I love, and together we are making an impact. So that there's just nothing could be better. Awesome. Take care, and I shall speak with you soon. Okay, I just closed that thinking that it would close this. Okay, and